I've recently heard this phrase, oh, once I learned how to code, I'll go to the gym and work out and work on my health. Do you see what's wrong with that? Or let's say, insert any activity that you really want to do, but you can't because you need to do something first. There's something to achieve first before you're able to do something that you love. And that's not the way that's not the way the world works. If you really want to do something, you can find a way to do it. But at this time, let's just talk about health because most of the time health is the one being postponed. I've been there. I've been 21 once and I thought I was invulnerable, that I'll never get sick. So I postponed being healthy because I thought that once I got a job and earn some money and then I'll have time to go to the gym and work out. Then when I got a job, I realized that that's not true at all. When I got a job, I got more busy and didn't have time to actually work out, which is ironic. Also, I thought that when I go for a jog or do something else other than coding, it would hinder my progress as a programmer, as someone learning how to code. But then, but then it is totally wrong because health is correlated to how well we execute everything we do. When we exercise, we produce happy hormones, and in turn, it motivates us to do whatever we need to do and do it exceptionally well, since we are in a good mood and when we're doing it. The thing is, I already knew this before, but I still made a lot of excuses because sometimes making the right choice is just too damn hard. It felt a lot more comfortable to just sit around the house eating chips and watching Netflix. Or spend all day in front of my computer thinking that I was doing a lot of work, that I was working hard, when in reality I was just scrolling through a lot of uh, content, consuming mind numbing content, scrolling to social media. If only I would have spent less time in front of the computer, but still have been more productive since I have a good ment since I am in a good headspace from working out and being healthy, that would have been more productive. My focus would have been sharper compared to when I was not sleeping enough and not exercising enough. I was fooled to think that, oh, if I spend less time sleeping and instead use that time to learn coding instead, then I'll progress my learning faster. When in fact it was the opposite. Sleep is essential, and that it is better to sleep off a programming problem than then think of solutions once the body and the mind has been recharged. Due to this unhealthy attitude that I have towards my health, now I am paying for it. I have a chronic back pain, which I just fixed with a lot of exercise, boxing, and a little bit of yoga. My eyesight is terrible and it deteriorated much quicker than it should have been. But I'm planning to have surgery later the next year in order to fix it. Thank God we have LASIK surgery in the modern day, the modern times. Up to this point, we've been talking about physical health, but there's also mental health. Let's talk about mental health. There was something I've heard recently at the park that made me think of how I acted when I was young. Here goes. The guy said, I'll stop watching prawn when I get a girlfriend. And I'm just saying prawn for the algorithm. When in fact, watching prawn is the first step to get a girlfriend or get into a healthy relationship. And I just found it ironic. Stopping to watch prawn is the first step to get a girlfriend. Watching prawn affects our mental health negatively and immensely in that direction. It's science. There were studies conducted time and time again, and it was proven that it is bad for you. Not only for males but for females as well. It distorts the perception of what sex actually is like. It demotivates you. Prawn makes your head produce so much dopamine that you'll get numb when you actually are going to have sex, and it demotivates you, and every successes that you get will feel a little less because your dopamine receptors are burned out from watching prawn. So every achievement that you get, it won't feel as good as it should have been. Prawn also affects the way you socially interact. You'll begin sexualizing everything, and it comes off as creepy, and even if you don't notice it because it's subconscious. Get so that phrase, "I'll stop watching prawn when I get a girlfriend," is a way of postponing improving mental health, and it is even a way to hinder you from actually achieving your goal, which is having a girlfriend, if that's what your goal is. Physical health is also correlated to mental health. I went to a therapist and I'm still going to therapy, and in most cases they will suggest working out, exercise, and producing happy hormone, anything to make you sweat, activities which are positive to make you sweat. Almost all of the activity that was suggested has to do with something like working out, going for a jog, or going to walk your dog, and etc. and so on. Since we've mentioned therapy, I think therapy is for everyone. Our body can have obvious signs to tell you that it's sick, but as for our brains, it is much less noticeable. But if you go to therapy, at least you'll have someone who is a professional to conduct tests, and in order for you to understand if you have something going on up there which is not right. And from my experience, knowing if you have mental illness, it will liberate you a lot. It will explain so much about you, and you'll get to know yourself on a deeper level. So I suggest going to therapy, especially if you can't focus, if you're having dark thoughts. I suggest you go to a professional. Don't make excuses like, oh, if I'm in a certain condition, then I'll go to therapy. Because you might not know that what you have, if ever you have one, is something that will evolve to something severe if you don't get it treated immediately. And in the end, it will be harder to overcome because it has gotten so much worse. So that's my 2 cents about mental health and physical health. Hope you guys like me just rambling in front of my camera. Be well physically and mentally. I'm still in this journey with you. We are all in this journey together, and yeah, I hope we improve. See you in the next one.